You're watching LWT.
In a moment, the man with the name, Clint Eastwood.
What were you like when you were younger?
Trouble. Why?
I just wondered. Why were you trouble?
I had a temper.
Of course, dear.
You must be moving right along. Yeah, we'll come across them tomorrow, I reckon.
Hello, we kick off our 19th South Bank Show season with a film with Clint Eastwood. He's not one for long speeches, and he's never been an interview junkie. But Gerald Fox got him to spend some time with us. Of course, it's useful that his new film, The Bridges of Madison County, comes out next week. But we spent more time on a handful of his other films, on his politics, and how they dovetail with the ambitions that turn him from a lumberjack and swimming instructor into a world movie star, a fine director, a man with his own film company, and a man with his own view of what he should do. We went to his hometown of Carmel, just down from San Francisco, a couple of months ago. It's hard to imagine it now, but this coast and up and down here when you were born was a scene of terrible deprivation and depression, and to a certain extent your family and you lived through.
Well, there was a Depression era in the United States, and times were tough, but we got along. I'm sure that my it's like you remember the good times, you don't remember the bad. And I was a kid, so I wasn't affected by it so much. I only knew what I could relate to at that particular time, so everything seemed fine by me.
I think the boy's got talent. I think I could teach him to play a little guitar. Maybe he'd be a singer someday. Maybe a good singer. What do you think, Hoss? You'd like to go down to Nashville with your old Uncle Red?
Well, we get out to California in time for picking cotton. We're going to need every hand we can get, huh?
Oh, Papa, please let me go with him. You heard him. He said I had talent. I could be a musician.
I told you to hush up.
In fact, my parents were having a rough time providing for their kids, as most people did in those days. It was in those days it was a different era in history. Everybody wanted to work. Everybody wanted to work desperately, in fact.
Papa, I don't want to be a damn cotton picker all my life.
Oh, listen here, Mr. Big Britches don't want to be a damn cotton picker all his life. Now, you listen here, if your mom and I hadn't been picking cotton all them years, working our fingers to the bone for you kids, where the hell do you think you'd be today, Mr. Big Britches?
His parents were not lower class people, but they were sort of, I think, in a way, declassed middle class people. I mean, the Depression hit them very hard. there was a period of several years where the family moved almost constantly on an almost annual basis as his father looked for work.
Were your parents just very intent on getting their life together and giving you quite simple and clear moral messages and imperatives as a child?
Oh, I think so. I think you're absolutely correct. They everything was it was a much simpler time, and people just wanted the basic comforts then. Now everybody's talking about, do I have a 19 or a 20-inch television or what have you? But those days you didn't. You just wanted the basics, and that's what they were striving for. So it was a simpler time. The moralities were much more simple too.
There was a right and a wrong, and that was it. And
yeah.
And you were punished if you did wrong, and everybody knew you'd done wrong. Yeah,
they'd swat you, and a teacher would swat you or something, and nobody'd sit there and try to litigate the teacher. The parents would say, yeah, if he's out of line, give him a whack. As a kid, I started out playing kind of, ragtime stuff. You know, just various things like that, and then everybody played blues in those days.
I think music was the first thing that Clint, a very young Clint, he found to be transformative. It could take him away from the dailiness of his life, from his, his somewhat isolated, somewhat shy, somewhat withdrawn life. It was something that allowed him to experience his own imaginative forces.
Then later on, everybody tried to play bebop, and everybody liked Kenton. We all liked Kenton, and we liked that kind of stuff. But, as I kind of drifted out of it in my late teens, I never really got back to it. And I enrolled into a music school, but I got drafted out of it during the war, the Korean War. So I never kind of got back to it. After that, I went to LA City College and tried to study acting. And
in your school, in your childhood, in your youth, was there any point where, a particular point where the idea of becoming an actor, did that come up at all, or how did it come up?
That never came up. I once did a one-act play in junior high school, and I was absolutely petrified. I'd even contemplated cutting school that day and calling in sick, just so I wouldn't have to do it. But we went ahead and did it. But I remember saying afterwards that I'll never do this again. And
what was it that dismayed you about it?
I didn't for quite a few years.
You stuck to your word. What was it that had put you off so strongly about it?
Well, I think getting up in front of that amount of people, I wasn't. I was an introverted kind of kid, and the teacher chose me for the lead. It was part of an English class project, and the teacher picked me for the lead because the lead was sort of an introverted, retarded, backward kid. Maybe not retarded, but marginal.
Give me that. I'm going to show you how to tune this thing, and I'm only going to show you one time, so you would pay attention, you hear? You hold this E string down here at the 5th fret. What are you staring at? Is there something peculiar about the way I look? Come on, get out of here. You're standing around here staring at me like I'm some sort of freak.
No,
Get out of here, beat it.
In my case, I never knew what I was interested in until it all of a sudden happened. So I just bounced from job to job, and you kind of moved around. And when I was studying in school, I was studying a business administration major, and that's a major that everyone takes when they don't quite know what they want to do. So then at loose ends, and then I got taking acting classes in the evening, and as a sort of just to see how I felt about it, and then pretty soon you kind of get under your skin, and then you start getting